everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Pragya, and today I'm going to cover a very fascinating game played between two youngsters, Grandmaster Javokhir Sindarov and Grandmaster Rameshbabu Praggnanandhaa. And this is the game from round 2 of the Grand Chess Tour Super Chess Classic 2026. The Grand Chess Tour is one of the biggest stages in the world of chess, bringing together the best players across classical, rapid, and blitz format. And if you have been following this tournament, you might be knowing that Grandmaster Hans Niemann has already claimed victory in the rapid and blitz event, and now the spotlight is on the classical section. The tournament began on May 14, 2026 at the stunning National Bank Museum, Bucharest, Romania. Let's have a look at the playing hall. So, this is the tournament happening inside the National Bank Museum in Romania. Just look how beautiful, classical and old architecture style it has, perfectly suited for this classic chess event. Okay, so let's talk about the players. Here, Javokhir Sindarov, not just another player in the field, but the biggest force in the classical chess right now. Over the past 18 months, the Uzbek star has been unstoppable, winning the 2025 FIDE World Cup and then dominating the 2026 candidates to earn a World Championship match against the world champion Gukesh Domraju. Well, what makes Sindarov so dangerous? So, it is his fearless attacking chess, brilliant preparation and incredible defense under pressure. He arrived at the Super Chess Classic on a stunning 53-game unbeaten streak in classical chess. And against Grandmaster Praggnanandhaa, he already holds a major psychological advantage after defeating him twice in the candidates. So, let's see how the game went. Both are 20-year-old, and this is round 2 of the Super Chess Classic from the Grand Chess Tour. Grandmaster Javokhir Sindarov, playing with the white pieces, opens with e4. Praggnanandhaa responds e5. Knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, bishop c5. The Italian opening, one of the sharpest openings recorded around the late 16th century, and is very complex with interesting ideas and developments. c3. Here, white wants to build a strong center by preparing a push of pawn d4. Knight f6. Now here, in this position, white can go for gioco piano, also called Italian opening, by playing solid d3 and playing around 25 moves of Grandmaster opening theory with interesting complex positions where it's all about piece play. However, here Javokhir played d4, and this is, on this move, the Greco Gambit. If you don't know what Gambit is simply giving up a piece or a pawn for free for more activity or later positional gains. In the Greco Gambit, which comes under the Italian opening, here white gambits its e-pawn. Now, because this bishop is attacked, black captures the d-pawn with its e-pawn. So, Praggnanandhaa captures the pawn. C captures d and bishop b4 check. Knight bd2. It blocks the check but gives up the e-pawn for free. Like I mentioned, white gambits its e-pawn in this opening for space and piece activity. Black happily takes the free pawn, and Sindarov plays e5, attacking the knight. And white gets a pawn stuck on d5. This d5 pawn is going to be annoying for black because it takes up the space in the center and makes it hard for black pieces to move out naturally. Here, Praggnanandhaa exchanged the knight on d2. Bishop takes knight, bishop captures bishop, and queen captures bishop. This queen is beautifully controlling this diagonal, and the space for the king and the rooks are open, and white can castle on whichever side he wants. And here black knight is attacked right now, and it cannot move on b4 or a5 or e5, and the only possible squares on which this knight can go is e7 and b8. So Praggnanandhaa plays knight e7, and Javokhir castles on the queen side. This move completely shaped the game. By castling queenside, Javokhir Sindarov chose an aggressive and risky approach. In the Joko piano, castling long is uncommon and clearly showed his plan to attack black's king side with a fast pawn storm. At the same time, the engine felt the position was still balanced, but black's extra pawn being offset by white's active play and better control of space. d6. Praggnanandhaa answered with an important defensive move. Playing b6 strengthened the center and stopped white's dangerous pawn from moving further. It also opened the diagonal for black bishop, helping him bring more pieces into his defense. Javokhir Sindarov wasted no time and started his kingside attack with his next move, that is h4. In opposite side castling, the h-pawn is a very common way to begin an attack against the enemy king. And now Praggnanandhaa castles on the king side. Castling on the king's side, even though it meant placing his king right in the path of white's coming attack, showed Praggnanandhaa's confidence. Sindarov continued to press the attack by pushing the pawn to h5. h6. This was an important prophylactic move. It stops white's h-pawn from advancing further and helped black avoid a potentially catastrophic attack on the king's side. Rook d to g1. The rook moved to the g file, preparing to support white's thematic g4 and g5 pawn push and strengthen the king side attack. Bishop g4. Praggnanandhaa responded with a smart defensive move, developing the bishop to g4. The bishop attacks the knight on f3 and more importantly blocked the g-file attack. This forced the Javokhir Sindarov to spend extra time dealing with the bishop before continuing the assault. And Javokhir rerouted his knight to h4. Queen d7 by Praggnanandhaa, centralizing his queen to d7, connecting his rooks, and preparing to meet white's flank aggression with the central counterplay. Bishop d3. Here, Javokhir has centralized its bishop on the center of the board, controlling the beautiful diagonal and opening the c file for possible rook to tackle any queenside attack. Rook fe8 by Praggnanandhaa. He activated the rook on the semi-open e file, adding pressure in the center and also giving the king a possible escape route to f8 if the kingside attack becomes dangerous. Now Sindarov plays bishop c2. The move bishop c2 turned out to be a major mistake in this game. The bishop was already active on d3, putting pressure on black's king side, but by moving it back, Javokhir Sindarov lost momentum in a position where every move mattered. The idea is, if you are attacking, You should not get defensive in the game and rather focus on your attack, because if for any move you take a defensive role or take your pieces back, then the opposition get a tempo or a chance to counter attack or balance the situation. The retreat of this bishop also blocked his own piece. Like I mentioned before, the c file was a file that white can grab by placing its rook on c1 later in the game for any queenside attacks. Here, the stronger move was f3, directly challenging black's bishop on g4 and keeping the kingside attack alive. White could then follow up with g4 and continue the pawn storm naturally. Instead, bishop c2 gave Praggnanandhaa enough time to stabilize and slowly take control of the game. Praggnanandhaa instantly and ruthlessly capitalized on Sindarov's potential mistake and played queen b5. The queen move created pressure on multiple fronts at once, targeting the b2 pawn, attacking the center, and creating threats around white's king. After this move, the momentum clearly shifted, and black was now the one controlling the game. This pawn is also attacked twice, and white will lose it in the game further. White is already one pawn down because of the gambit. Sindarov finally tried to push f3, but by then the position has changed completely. The early loss of the tempo with bishop c2 gave black enough time to coordinate the pieces, making white's attack far less dangerous. Black bishop captures the hanging h5 pawn, and now black is 2 pawn up. g4 by Sindarov, attacking the bishop, and Praggnanandhaa plays bishop g6, which solidified the kingside defense. Knight f5. Sindarov finally brought the knight to f5, but Praggnanandhaa answered calmly with queen c5. The queen became very active in the center, putting pressure across the board, targeting the misplaced bishop on c2 and creating new problems for white's position. King b1 by Javokhir, unpinning the bishop on c2. Knight captures d5, and Praggnanandhaa calmly removes white's strongest central pawn on d5 square. With that, Javokhir Sindarov lost his main source of compensation, and black was now 3 pawns up. From this point on, white needed something tactical and extraordinary to stay in the game. For this reason, Javokhir went all in by sacrificing at knights by playing knight captures h6 check. The knight sacrifice was his last chance to create complications and attack black king. G captures knight. Bishop captures bishop, and pawn captures bishop. Rook c1, attacking the queen, and Praggnanandhaa plays queen b5 to keep his defense organized while protecting the important b7 and c7 squares. c7 is protected by this knight and b7 by this queen, and this knight is in return protected by the queen. So white cannot infiltrate on the 7th rank. Queen takes h6. Sindarov's queen infiltrated the heavily damaged king side of black. Praggnanandhaa plays queen d3 check. King a1, Queen d4. Even though the position looked dangerous for black, Praggnanandhaa stayed in control. His active queen on d4 and strong knight on d5 gave him a solid defensive setup against white attack. Queen h7 check. King f8. Queen takes g6. Rook e2. The move rook e2 looked active and dangerous as Praggnanandhaa attacks white queenside and created mating threat against the white king, as grabbing this pawn with its queen going to be a checkmate. But in reality, rook e2 gave Sindarov the chance to keep checking and stay in the game. The stronger move here was Queen f6, which would have forced a queen trade or pushed white's queen away from the attack. That would have left black with a much easier winning endgame. Instead, rook e2 allowed Sindarov to find counterplay and keep the pressure alive. And Sindarov plays queen f5 check, king e8, queen g6 check, king f8, queen f5 check, king e8, queen g6 check, king d8. Praggnanandhaa avoiding the repetition of moves. And now Sindarov plays queen g8 check, rook e8, queen g5 check, knight e7, rook ce1. Sindarov brought his final inactive piece into the fray. The rook on e1 pinned the knight on e7, renewing the pressure and preventing black from untangling completely. Queen d3, with the idea of possible queen exchange. Rook e3. With just over 2 minutes left on the clock, Javokhir Sindarov made the decisive mistake. Rook e3. Under heavy time pressure, the move looked active, attacking black's queen and trying to increase pressure on the e file. But it contained a serious tactical flaw and instantly turned the position from balanced to clearly winning for black. The safer move was f4. A simple prophylactic idea that would have strengthened white's position, kept the attack under control and likely held the draw. Instead, rook e3 gave Praggnanandhaa the chance to take over completely. Queen g6. Praggnanandhaa, recognizing the monumental nature of the blunder, with 11 minutes and 49 seconds remaining on his clock, immediately punished the mistake with the precise queen g6. The move was simple but deadly. It defended the king, offered a queen trade and attacked white's queen at the same time. With almost no time left, Javokhir Sindarov suddenly realized the attack was over and the game had slipped away. Queen b5. Javokhir Sindarov avoided the queen trade with queen b5, desperately trying to keep some attacking chance alive by targeting the b7 pawn. But by this point, the momentum had completely shifted and black was firmly in control. Praggnanandhaa plays rook b8, defending the b7 pawn. Rook h e1, aligning both the rooks on e file, a6, attacking the queen. Queen a4, b5, attacking the queen again, queen a5. This pawn is a weakness for black because it is only supported by its king. So white can aim to attack this by bringing the rooks on c file and attacking it. Queen f7, with the idea of moving this knight away from the 7th rank and supporting this c7 pawn. Rook c1, attacking the c7 pawn twice, and it is defended only once by Black King. And now Praggnanandhaa plays knight d5. Now this pawn is defended thrice and attacked only twice. Rook d3, aiming to remove this defender of this pawn. And now Praggnanandhaa plays rook b6. This move now completely saves this c7 pawn, and as you can see the evaluation bar, Sindarov realized that there is nothing left in this game, and this is on move 42 that he resigned. This game brought an end to 53 game streak of Grandmaster Javokhir Sindarov in the classical chess. And I forgot to show you the image of both the players before the start of the game. So this is the image of Grandmaster Javokhir Sindarov and Grandmaster Rameshbabu Praggnanandhaa from round 2 of Super Chess Classic Grand Chess 2. I hope you enjoyed this game recap, and please don't forget to like, subscribe and share this with your friends. Thank you so much for supporting. See you next with another game recap. Thank you, take care and bye-bye.